In this lesson, I'm going to teach you 15 phrasal verbs that are used in everyday English. Now, some of these phrasal verbs you might know, but through the examples, you're going to better understand how to use them and also learn more English as you go through this lesson. I will leave all of the phrasal verbs and all of the examples in the description for you so that you can study these sentences in addition to listening to them. I will have subtitles if you are on YouTube, and there'll also be more learning resources in the description for you. Let's get started with number 1. The first one is catch on. Catch on. A quick example is, it took him a while, but he finally caught on. He finally caught on. This means to understand something, especially after some time or effort. More examples. She didn't catch on at first, but now she understands perfectly. She didn't catch on at first. And it took me a few lessons to catch on to the new software. It took me a few lessons to catch on to the new software. So we can use it when we're learning something new. I didn't catch on to the rules of chess until I played a few games. And also when you are understanding jokes as well. He only caught on to the joke after everyone had stopped laughing. So that is catch on. The next one is run out of something. To run out of something. A quick example is when you look in the refrigerator and you say, "We ran out of milk. We ran out of milk." In British English, you'll hear, "We've run out of milk. We've run out of milk." To run out of something means to use up all of something so that there's none left. You've used all of the milk and there is none left. 2 more examples. We ran out of gas on our way to the city. We ran out of gas on our way to the city. And I'm afraid we've run out of time for this meeting. We've run out of time for this meeting. So we can use this for everyday life situations. We ran out of eggs while baking the cake, and also for work or deadlines. I ran out of time to finish the report before the deadline. The next one is look after. Look after. For example, can you look after my dog while I'm away? Can you look after my dog while I'm away? This means to take care of someone or something. Another example is, she looks after her younger siblings every afternoon. She looks after her younger siblings every afternoon. And a question you might ask is, who's going to look after the plants while we're on vacation? Who's going to look after the plants while we're on vacation? It's often used for childcare and also pet care. 2 more examples. I need someone to look after my kids this weekend, and we asked our neighbours to look after our cat while we're on holiday. The next 2 you have probably heard of, but the examples are going to be really useful. So number 4 is turn on. Turn on. An example is, turn on the lights, it's too dark in here. And this means to activate a device or a machine. It's often used at home. For example, turn on the oven and preheat it before cooking. Turn on the oven and preheat it before cooking. And I've learned recently that preheating an oven is really necessary. It can also be used in meetings or classes. Let's turn on the projector to start the presentation. Let's turn on the projector to start the presentation. And the opposite of this is turn off. I won't give too many examples here because I'm sure you understand this one. A quick example is, please turn off the lights before you leave. Please turn off the lights before you leave. You'll often hear this in public spaces. For example, please turn off your phone in the library. Please turn off your phone in the library. Number 6 is pick up. You'll hear this a lot. Pick up. For example, I'll pick you up at 7 o'clock. I'll pick you up at 7 o'clock. And this means to collect someone or something. Another example is, can you pick up the kids after school? Can you pick up the kids after school? And I picked up a few groceries on my way home. I picked up a few groceries on my way home. It's often used for transportation, like we saw before. Another example is, he picked me up from the airport. He picked me up from the airport. And it's also used for shopping. I need to pick up some supplies for the office. I need to pick up some supplies for the office. Boyfriends and girlfriends, husbands and wives will often use this in text messages. Can you pick this up on the way home? Can you pick this up on the way home? Now, the opposite to this is number 7, which is drop off. Drop off. For example, I dropped off the package at the post office. I dropped off the package at the post office. And this means to leave someone or something at a specific location. To leave someone or something at a specific location. 2 more examples. She dropped off her son at school before going to work. She dropped off her son at school before going to work. And I'll drop you off at the bus station. I'll drop you off at the bus station. It's often used for errands and transportation. So errands and transportation. I need to drop off some clothes at the dry cleaner. And can you drop me off at the train station on your way to work? Can you drop me off at the train station on your way to work? The next one is put on, to put on. Quick example is put on your jacket. It's cold outside. Put on your jacket. It's cold outside. So this means to wear or to apply something. And we can also use it for something else. For example, music and entertainment. Some examples are, she put on her glasses to read the menu. She put on her glasses to read the menu. He put on some music to create a relaxing atmosphere. He put on some music to create a relaxing atmosphere. And let's put on a movie tonight. Let's put on a movie tonight. The next one is take off. Take off. For example, take off your shoes before entering the house. Take off your shoes before entering the house. This means to remove something you're wearing or for something like a plane to depart as well. So there are 2 main meanings here. More examples are, she took off her coat because it was too warm inside. She took off her coat because it was too warm inside. And the plane took off on time. Luckily, thankfully, the plane took off on time. And another example is, he always takes off his hat when he enters a building. He always takes off his hat when he enters the building. Number 10 is something that I don't want you to do when it comes to learning English. And it's this, give up. Give up. An example is, don't give up on your dreams. Don't give up on your dreams. This means to stop trying or to quit something. An example you might have heard before is this. She gave up smoking after 10 years. She gave up smoking after 10 years. And then listen for the word glad here. I almost gave up learning English, but I'm glad I didn't. I almost gave up learning English, but I'm glad I didn't. So this is used a lot for habits and for goals. For example, he gave up junk food to lose weight. And don't give up just because it's difficult. Don't give up just because it's difficult. The next one is make up. Make up. For example, they made up after their argument, which is good to know. They made up after their argument. So there are 2 meanings for this one, 2 main meanings. To reconcile after a disagreement or to invent something. For example, she made up a funny excuse for being late. She made up a funny excuse for being late, and we had a fight, but we made up quickly. We had a fight, but we made up quickly. And one more example in terms of inventing something is, he made up a story to entertain the kids. He made up a story to entertain the kids. Number 12 is call off. To call off. They called off the meeting because of bad weather. They called off the meeting because of bad weather. And this means to cancel something. To cancel something. Another example is, the concert was called off due to rain. The concert was called off due to rain. And unfortunately, we had to call off our holiday plans. We had to call off our holiday plans. And something you might celebrate is this. The boss called off today's meeting. The boss called off today's meeting. The next one is carry on. Carry on. For example, let's carry on with this lesson. Let's carry on with this lesson. And this means to continue doing something, to continue doing something. An example is, she carried on working despite the noise. She carried on working despite the noise. And after the interruption, we carried on as usual. After the interruption, we carried on as usual. So this can be used for work or study, and also just for casual activities. For example, they carried on chatting after dinner. They carried on chatting after dinner. The next one is to cut down on something. To cut down on something. An example is, I'm trying to cut down on sugar. I'm trying to cut down on sugar. And this means to reduce the amount of something. You might hear people say, we're cutting down on expenses this month. We're cutting down on expenses this month. And it's often used with health as well. I've cut down on fast food to stay healthy. I've cut down on fast food to stay healthy. And the last one is run into. Run into. For example, I ran into an old friend at the mall. I ran into an old friend at the mall. And this means to meet somebody by chance or encounter something unexpectedly. For example, I ran into some trouble with my car this morning. I ran into some trouble with my car this morning. And we ran into our neighbours while walking the dog. We ran into our neighbours while walking the dog. So that is a social situation. Another example of an unexpected problem is, I ran into technical issues during the meeting. I ran into technical issues during the meeting. So those are the phrasal verbs that you're going to hear in everyday English conversations. What to do now is to continue learning with me. If you are on YouTube, then just click on another video and go through that video. If you're on Apple or Spotify, then go through some of my older podcast episodes, especially those that help you learn English in the right way. If you've enjoyed this, then be sure to subscribe to my English lessons and also share this episode with a friend. Just click that share button and share it on WhatsApp, on Facebook, or any other social media site that you use. Thank you for learning English with me, and I'll see you in the next lesson.